Hi, I'm Jinx and this is a melodic dubstep tutorial. So this song is called I Love You. Okay, so you're going to want to start with the drums. So this is the kick. And then this is it with the snares. And then with the hi-hats. Okay, so then to make the super saws you need a saw wave, and you can just use the default one that comes up in Vital, and that sounds like this. And then set the voices to 16 and the detune to around 18%. And then in the second oscillator, use the saw wave as well, also up to 16 voices, but this time the detune to about 30%. And then the pitch of this oscillator can go up by an octave, which is to 12. And that sounds like this now. So without this oscillator. And next add some white noise, and then you can turn the level down a lot on this one. So now go into effects and activate the compressor, and you can slightly increase the band and high frequencies. I actually made the super saws and the basses by following another tutorial that I found, so I'll link that in the description, and if you want more depth into super saws, it's really good, and I found it really useful, so it's definitely worth your time if you want to find out more. So now go into the mixer. So first of all add OTT, and just turn the depth down to about 24%, and then duplicate the OTT, and you can do that by clicking the drop down arrow, and then save preset as. If you just drag and drop that onto the next slot, then it will duplicate it and you'll have the same one again. So then add EQ and cut out some of the low end. So without any of those, and with. So then duplicate the EQ as well. So then add sound goodizer. Leave it on option A and turn the knob down to just under halfway. And then add another OTT. And on this one, leave depth at 100%, but turn time up to 1000% and upward and downward, put those both down to 0. And then that's going to be quite loud. So turn down the outgain to like 10 around. So then add another EQ, because some of the low end might have been reintroduced. And you can also cut out some of the harsh frequencies in this EQ as well. And that helps give it a nicer sound. And then finally, add some reverb. Hello, this is Editor Jinx. I don't actually make super saws like that exactly anymore, and I don't use that much OTT anymore. That was quite a bit, so keep that in mind. So now you can make the chord progression. And you can try and make it interesting by varying note lengths and the patterns, and then here's what I came up with. Okay, so now we can move on to the bass. So in oscillator 1, just use the default saw wave that's here, and leave the voices and the detune at default, and then add white noise. Lower it to just below halfway. And then go into effects, activate distortion, and turn up the drive all the way. So now we can put effects onto the bass and mix it. So pretty much the same effects that we used on the super saw, but with some slight differences. So add OTT, depth to around 24% again. Duplicate this, so this time EQ out the high frequencies. And then you can also EQ out some of the harsher frequencies. So add sound goodizer, leave it on A, and just below halfway. So now use another OTT and leave the depth at 100, time to 1000, upwards and downwards, both to 0, and then lower the outgain. Another thing that you can do if it's clipping, you can add a fruity soft clipper, but it depends what your bass sounds like. For this song, I've just made the bass follow the chord root notes. So now onto the lead. In oscillators 1 and 2, use the saw waves. You can just use the default ones again. Increase the glide to just about over half. And then you can adjust the slope to be however you want, but I'm going to put it about like that. And then activate legato, and then it'll sound like this. So that's pretty much all that I did in Vital, because most of the work I did inside the mixer. So I'll show you how to do that now. So add an OTT. Lower the depth to about 29% this time. So then duplicate this one, so then it'll sound like this. Okay, so then add a EQ and cut out all of the low end. And you can also cut out some of the not good frequencies. Forgot the word, but you can do that. So then duplicate this one as well, and then add Sound Goodizer. Leave it on A, but this time to about 40%, so a bit less than the other one. I've also done a few different patterns for other parts of the song. For this drop I thought it would be fun to reverse parts of the lead and super saws, and it's really simple to do, so I will show you how I did that for the lead, and it's the same process for both, so yeah. This is the lead. And then the super saw. So first, right click the pattern and select Quick Render as Audio Clip. And then this is just an example pattern, this isn't the actual thing, but yeah. So it doesn't sound good, but that's not the point. So anyways, that's how you do that. And then with your actual sample, right click the sample and select Edit Sample. And that'll bring up the Edison audio recorder with your sample in it. You can drag and select everything you don't want, except for the first note. First note would be the best one to have. So once you've got that, if you click the reverb button, move your dry all the way down and wet all the way up, and then if you click the tools button and select reverse, so then just select the drag button and just drag it into your samples, and then there you've got it. So then you can arrange your lead and your reverse leads to be in a pattern that you like. So this is what I've done. And then this is the super saws with the reversed chords as well. Okay, so I've also used some samples in this song, and I'll quickly go over that too, and some fun things you can try out with them as well. So this part is more colour-based than melodic dubstep, so I won't take long on it, but if you want to see a breakdown of how I did the colour-based part, let me know. So for these samples I added a reverb, which I automated throughout the song, so it wasn't normally fully reverbed. And then EQ, where I cut out a lot of the low end. Just for some of the samples. For the main part I didn't, but for the samples I did. And then I added a retune. For the samples that I added retune onto, I pitched it up a bit, and then I used retune to put it back to the original key, and that sounded really good. On this one, for example, I didn't do that. I added spectral gate, so without it it's this, and with it it's this. And then I added an OTT to bring back some of the volume lost from spectral gate. So yeah, in other parts I added retune, and I did that, but I won't go over that in this video. So these samples are just here to add some variation to the drop, and it also helps the colour bass drop after fit better into the song, and it's like feels more natural. The other sample that I used is this loop here. I also duplicated this and pitched it up an octave. I then cut up the samples to fit the chords. Okay, so now that all of the elements are in place, we can sidechain them to the drums, which is a very important step. And for anyone who doesn't know, in a really simple explanation, sidechaining is ducking the volume of an instrument. For example, when the kick hits, the bass's volumes drop, and this gives a punchier feel to the song, and also allows the drums to be heard more clearly. But if you want a more in-depth explanation, I'd recommend going and watching a video about sidechaining, because it's very helpful. So the technique that I'm going to be demonstrating was actually shown to me by another producer, and I think it's a really effective way to do it, so I'm going to show that one. So in the mixer, label one track as your sidechain channel, so like this one here, and in this channel add fruity balance. And now on any of the channels that you want to sidechain, for example I'm going to be doing the bass in this demonstration, right click the arrow here, and then route to this track only, and then it'll look like this instead. So then the volume of the bass is then controlled by the sidechain channel. So then going back to fruity balance, right click the volume knob and select create automation clip, and then you can automate this however you want. With a kick and without the sidechaining it sounds like this. And then you can use the automation to create a shape kind of like this. So you can hear the difference between this and this. It adds more rhythm as well to it. So you can also repeat this process to create interesting patterns with the automations, but for basic just sidechaining, just do this. So then here is the drop without sidechaining. And then here it is with. And that's it. That is how to make melodic dubstep, and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe for more.